What's up, my good peoples? I am James Anderson, and this is Be Transformed, where we help people discover identity, purpose, and vision. Today, we're talking about the reality of the presence of God in you and the favor of God upon you. And the story of Joseph depicts this reality. So in Genesis 37, Joseph gets forcefully sold as a slave, and he ends up in Egypt, and this guy named Potiphar buys him. Well, Potiphar brings him home and gives him some kind of task. Well, it doesn't take too long for Potiphar to recognize that everything that Joseph touches increases, right? Like Joseph had to bring, the value that he was bringing was so measurable that it was above and beyond what anybody else was bringing. So Potiphar looks at this, right? And he says, all right, well, if Joseph can bring this kind of value with such a small task, what could he do if I gave him my entire estate? This is the concept of being faithful with little and then being given much because of it. So Potiphar puts Joseph in charge of all he has. This is interesting. So everything Joseph touches increases like crazy, right? Because the favor of God is upon him. So everything Potiphar owns is increasing, but this has absolutely nothing to do with Potiphar's relationship with God. This has everything to do with the fact that Joseph lives in the reality of God, and everything Joseph touches increases. Dude, this is interesting. So this is going on, and Potiphar's wife has the hots for Joseph, and Joseph isn't having it, right? He's not interested in committing adultery. So over a course of time, a situation occurs, and Potiphar's wife just kind of has it. And so she tells her husband that Joseph tried to rape her, which didn't happen. Well, anyways, Potiphar gets pissed, throws him in prison. But here, Joseph is in another crazy situation. But everywhere he goes, so goes the presence of God. So the warden has favor on Joseph, and the warden puts Joseph in charge of everybody in the prison. Everywhere Joseph goes, he brings value. There's something about Joseph that just makes things better. And it has everything to do with the presence of God. So Jesus said it like this, right? He said, you are the light of the world. He said, let your light so shine before men that they see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. I'd like to suggest that this reality of you displaying the splendor of God, of you doing these good works before men, of you letting your light shine looks something like these stories of Joseph, right? They're like tangible. It's measurable. It's for real. There's a story in Ezekiel 47. Ezekiel on a whole has these just crazy encounters. But in this one case, he's walking around the temple with this angel who's doing all these measurements. Well, they get to the entrance of the temple, and coming from underneath the threshold is this river of life. And everywhere this river goes, it brings healing. It goes all the way down to the ocean where all the fish had left, but it brings healing and brings this abundance of fish. And on the either side of the river grows these trees, and these trees bear fruit in season, and the leaves bring healing to the people. Everywhere this river goes, it brings healing and life. Jesus said it like this in John 7. He says, those of you who are thirsty, come to me and drink, and I will cause rivers of living water to flow from him. And he was talking about the Spirit of God. Look, when you become born again, man, you become the temple. Ezekiel 47. The presence of God comes and dwells inside of you. That's this river of life. And everywhere it goes, it brings healing. There's this, the passage in Isaiah 61, right, which Jesus quotes. Man, it depicts the reality of what this life is. Jesus said, the Spirit of the sovereign Lord is upon me on purpose, for a reason, to preach good news to the poor, to bind up the brokenhearted, and to proclaim freedom for the captives, to release from darkness the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the vengeance of God, and to comfort all who mourn. It's these people, right, who have become set free, who were once captives and now free, who were once broken but now mended. It's these people who are oaks of righteousness that God planted himself on purpose to display his splendor. And I'm telling you, that reality of displaying the splendor of God is visible. It's measurable. It's potable. It's tangible. It looks like Joseph in these situations where everywhere he went, things got better. Everywhere that river went, life came with it. Everywhere you go, so goes the glory of God. Change the way you think, change your life. Peace.
Guys, thanks so much for sticking around. If you're new to Be Transformed, make sure you subscribe and then hit us up at teambetransformed.com where you can find everything you need to live a life that says all day, I keep it cultivated. If you're not sure what that is, make sure you check out the video and then join the movement. Until next time.